Hey guys, Andrew Davidson here, and welcome back to another As Per My Ability video. If you like what we do here at As Per My Ability, if you like our videos, if you like our content, if you like board games in general, do us a favor, comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications when we post new videos. We appreciate everything that you guys do to help our channel grow so that we can keep making videos and exposing you to new games or game opportunities out there for you, your loved ones, your spouse, or your family. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a dystopian themed drafting, engine building, card driven game called It's a Wonderful World. I'll be talking a little bit about it, giving you my impressions, my thoughts, and telling you whether if it's good or not or who should buy it. But first, let's hit that sweet intro. I'll see you guys on the other side. Alright, welcome back everybody. Like I said, today's video is about It's a Wonderful World. I have my box here. I'm going to try to put it up. It's a Wonderful World right here. I have all of the expansions, so it's in one box, so it is quite heavy. This is made by Lucky Duck Games, and as I've said at the beginning, it's got a dystopian theme. The theme is rather tenuous. It's not really there, but it's there. Essentially, it's a drafting engine building game, it works really well. In It's a Wonderful World, everyone's going to be given a faction card. Now, you can play where everyone has the same faction and everyone has the same abilities. Although, why in the world would you ever do that? Why in the world would I want to be the exact same as Mr. Bill across the table? I want my own faction. So there is a possibility you can flip the card over to have unique, special factions, and you play as an empire or a faction or a civilization, whatever you want to call it, in a dystopian universe, and they're all going to be distinct. And they all have certain play styles that they kind of excel at. They have their strengths and weaknesses. If anyone's really familiar with the game Terraforming Mars, where you play like corporations and factions in that game, each faction, if you know Terraforming Mars pretty well, it kind of lends itself to a certain strategy or strategies. It's the same thing in It's a Wonderful World. So you will be starting off with your faction. At that point, some cards are going to be dealt. You're going to be doing the good old Seven Wonders like drafting mechanic, where you will be picking and passing and picking and passing. At the end, you're going to determine whether if you want to just junk some cards, basically just trash them to get some cubes, which are resources in the game, or whether if you want to try to implement the card by building it, by placing it down on the table. Now, placing it on the table does not mean that the card has been built. It just means that you have officially decided at that moment that this is a card that I do want to build. And each card will have different things that it needs to be to satisfy it. So then once it gets built, then it gets added to your tableau. Then we all hit a production phase and you're going to produce. And the more that you get built, the more that you can get done. So there is definitely a great engine building feeling to this game. Okay, so having gone over the game in like literally 30 seconds, which is okay, it's what I wanted to do. I know what I'm doing. I want to talk about what this game is and who it's for. That's what I usually try to do in my videos. So what the game is it's a very light game. It's actually not that difficult to learn. It looks a little intimidating out of the box. I will admit that. I myself, as a seasoned gamer, had the same experience of like, there's a lot of stuff on these cards. There's a lot of iconography, but the game is very simple once you learn how to play. It's not going to take you a long time to figure out how this game works. And considering it's got the drafting mechanic where you're all just kind of picking and passing, and then the second phase is all done simultaneously, whether if you want to put a card down to start its construction or if you want to junk the card, that's all done simultaneously. And then the round finishes out, like I said, with like a production type of phase where there's some bonuses on who produces more of this resource or this resource. That's about it. It's a really easy game to learn and play. So who is this game for? This game is for some pretty average gamers. And I don't mean that in any type of demeaning way. I just mean there's not a whole lot to this game. It's pretty easy to learn. The big differentiation is going to be the factions. That's where you get your replayability. The factions and some of the card draw. Now the cards, this game comes with a bunch of cards. You get even more if you have the expansions, which like I said, I do. But just if you buy the base game, you're going to get a huge stack of cards. So you're going to be seeing a lot of different cards. It's not going to be kind of the same old every single game. And like I said, with those factions, that's really where you're going to get the different feel for each game. But at the end of the day, the framework for the game is still there. Pick and pass. Are you going to build or junk? Then we go to production. Rinse and repeat. You only play 4 rounds. I'd say this is a really quick, easy, and yet fun engine building game. By the time you get to round 3, and definitely by round 4, if you've done anything right, which I normally haven't, but if you've done anything right, you should be hitting that stride. And for those of you that play deck builders or anything that like Splendor, anything that requires like has an engine building feel to it, yeah, does that feel good once you kind of feel like that engine is just churning away and you're like, okay, this is doing what I needed to do, and you're raking up points. And the game on the box, it says 45 minutes. I've played this game with obviously people who already knew how to play it, and we just cracked out a game. There's only 4 rounds. I think we only took about 20, maybe 25 minutes to play, and then there's some setup to it and some takedown, and that's about it. But yeah, 45 minutes seems about right, ages 14 plus. And the base game, you can play 1 to 5 players. There's an expansion that adds, I believe, up to 7 players. I'd have to double check. But I wouldn't want to just sit with a huge table, pick and pass and pick and pass. I don't know. It doesn't really change the duration of the game because you're still all picking and passing. Unless if you get that one person who's, got all of their cards lined up because everyone's already picked. And so we're all waiting on, Michelle or whomever. But if you get people that know what they're looking for or what cards they want to take or what cards they want out of the game because they don't want any of their opponents to have, it's your typical drafting element to a game. And it also comes with that, like I said, the engine building. Let's go. That's where this game is at. It feels so good and so rewarding in such a simplistic way for a game to offer an engine building feeling without taking 3 hours or convoluted mechanisms or a game that's just incredibly hard to learn. In fact, forget about the rule book. This is the back of the box, and it just tells you right there, boom, that's it. That's all you need to know. Your 3 phases, what you do in it, and it is really, really excellent game. It's a wonderful world. Highly, highly recommend it. So I recommend it for some beginner gamers. Maybe you're on that pandemic / Ticket to Ride / Carcassonne phase in your early gaming career or lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. This would be a good next step for you, a next buy. I highly recommend it. Now, while I have the camera rolling, I'm going to just briefly comment that there are 2 expansions at the time of recording this video. One, I believe, is called Corruption, and the other one is called War or Peace. Now, I especially want to talk about the War or Peace one because it is a campaign game, legacy style game, where you open up the box and everything is in sealed envelopes, everything. And there's also a cool special little extra box that's sealed in there with some cards that you can find out if you purchase it. So I'm highly recommending this game, It's a Wonderful World, because the base game is going to give you some great games. You're going to have a whole lot of fun playing it. There's a lot of replayability, and if you're someone like me and you like some narrative, or you like campaign driven games or legacy games or scenario driven games, whatever term they're using these days, well, there is a pretty cheap expansion out there called War or Peace that you can buy that allows you to unlock envelopes and new cards, and it essentially adds new stuff to the game and adds a narrative element to the game. The game can be played solo, which is great. It's just overall high marks from me. I think that if you are on the next step of your gaming career, would be a solid buy. So this is where I'm going to leave us for today. My name is Andrew Davidson. You've been watching As Per My Ability, and I will see each and every one of you at the next video. Come on, let's go, Brandon.